There are lots of things you can spend your tax refund on, but one thing you don't have to spend it on, a new smartphone. Switch to Metro PCS now and get not one, but 2 free 4G LTE smartphones for brands like Samsung and LG. Plus, you're on T-Mobile's blazing fast nationwide 4G LTE network. Hurry! Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free smartphones after instant rebate. One heck of a deal, only at Metro PCS. Limited time offer. Sales tax not included in phone price. Coverage and services not available everywhere. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Blog Talk Radio.
You know what time it is. Time to hang out with Mr. Coop. With Mr. Coop, with Mr. Coop, with Mr. Coop, the ladies Coop. From Mr. Coop, from Mr. Coop, from Mr. Coop, Mr. Coop, with Mr. Coop, with Mr. Coop, with Mr. Coop, the ladies Coop. From Mr. Coop, from Mr. Coop, yeah.
All right, welcome to the Big Scoop with Coop. I'm your host, Coop, and today I have another exciting guest on the show. If you're a big Z Nation fan, you're going to love this show. Guys, this is, before I even announce who this is, go tell your families, your friends, your associates to go to www.blogtalkradio.com/The Big Scoop with Coop. Make sure they catch this episode. This is going to be a great one, guys. Now, Season 2 is still going on. We only have a few episodes left of Season 2 until Season 3 starts. So big things are happening with that. So if your friends and family cannot catch the show live, tell them they can go to my website, www.bigscoopwithcoop.com. All right, guys, let's go on and get to this guest. Now, you know her as Cassandra or Cassandra from Z Nation. This is, I guess you can call, she's half human, half zombie. We will get into that later also. But you're going to learn about the woman behind the zombie also. Ladies and gentlemen, I have Miss Pisay Pao. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi. What a beautiful introduction. Oh, my gosh. I just feel really unworthy right now. I'm like, is he talking about me? I don't know if he's talking about me right now.
This is all about you. Most definitely it's all about it.
All right, I'll try to hang with that.
All right, I like that. Now, on this show, Ms. Powell, just to let you know, on this show, we always talk about how you started in your career, your success, give advice on how to actually get started in your career, and everything else you have going on. Now, Ms. Powell, you ready to rock this episode?
Let's do it.
All right. Now, let's go on and get this thing started, Ms. Powell. And I just want to say once again, thank you for coming on the show, taking your time out your busy schedule to actually show up. So thank you for that off top.
Thank you for having me. And please call me Pisay or Say or P-Pow, Powster, P to the people.
Oh,
whatever.
my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but you don't have to worry about calling me Miss Powell. Although that's very nice. Where are you from? Are you from the South?
North Carolina.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
I like it.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Pisay, let's go on and get this thing started here.
Okay.
What point of time in your life did you realize that you wanted to become an actress?
I think I've always wanted to be, but I was too scared. It wasn't until there was this moment when I was in Hollywood Video, remember when we had those around and you could actually go to a store and rent a video and then walk out. I don't know why people ever did those kind of things, but I was in a Hollywood Video store, and there was, I think I had just, and this is the crazy thing, I believe I had already done a feature film that Eric Roberts was in, Sean Patrick Flannery, Elizabeth Rome, who was, just in American Hustle, and Joy. So I was, in a real deal film, feature film, and I had a good role, and I still didn't think of myself as an actor. But I went to this Hollywood Video store after I'd done this film, and I saw this Asian film. I believe it's called Motel, and it was all about this Asian kid. An Asian boy worked at a motel. It was written by an Asian guy. It was directed by him. An all Asian cast, and it kind of like the light bulb went off for me. it won it was recognized in a lot of different festivals. And growing up, I never saw anyone who looked like me. Like, even though I'm Asian, and there have been other Asians in film and TV, I just have a different look. So I guess I needed to see that film, to see something like that made me believe, okay, it's time. You just did this movie. You need to really go and pursue this. So I guess I would say around that time, and then I had like a big birthday. We don't have to talk about what age specifically, but I had a big birthday, and I was just like, what am I doing? Where am I going? And I made a lotto list. This I have to talk about because I think it's really important. A lot of times in life we're bounded by money, right? We want to do something. We want to go on a trip. We want to buy a house or a car, or, we want to take a girl on a nice dinner or whatever have you. And we're bound by money. Like, you got to pay for this somehow. And so I had gotten to the point where I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to be poor. I didn't want to not have money and not have availability to go and travel and do the things that I wanted to do. And I decided, well, what if I had all the money in the world? What if I won the lotto and I didn't have to be bound by that, that box? And honest to God, the first thing that came up for me was move to LA and pursue acting.
Wow.
And I just thought, I thought, oh my God, I have all the money in the world. I could travel anywhere, do anything, and I would go to LA and I would pursue acting. And I thought, well, I don't have to win the lotto to do that. So that's really where the process, my personal process, began. That's really where I started taking steps towards, making that a reality. But I sort of had to have that epiphany moment first, and not feel like, oh, well, I can't do this because I don't have the money, or I can't do this because I don't have the degree. I guess I just opened up the possibilities of, well, what would you do if you could do anything? And that's, I've asked people that, and I still get people, you're giving them the world, right? You're like, anything, you're a billionaire, anything. And I still get people who are like, well, I would. I mean, I've always thought, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And luckily I wasn't that person at that time. I was like, well, I would do this, and I just knew right away that it was acting. So sorry for the long-winded answer, but
no, this is your story. Tell it, please tell it.
Thank you. This is Pisay's story.
You got that right. And I actually have like a similar thing also with myself. Yes, I've actually been in 2 shorts, so I've acted also. And with me, when I was a teenager, I always sat down and I watched shows that was like on TNBC, Saved by the Bell, California Dreams, Hang Time. It was shows that came on back in the 90s. And I was like, I can do that. And luckily, the director of the 2 movies I was in, named Nick Dalmacy, he gave me that shot. My first one was a voiceover, and my second one I actually made an on-screen appearance. So I know exactly what you mean. I mean, it's like when you do it, you start getting a passion for it, and you want to just keep going and going with it. Now, also, Pisay, you've actually done more than just Z Nation. What else have you done?
Well, I mean, Z Nation is the biggest. I started out in doing commercials, so that was the biggest thing for me. Is I think one of my first auditions ever, I booked. I think I'm trying to remember because it was so long ago, and that just goes to show you like how long it takes to get started. It's not just like, oh, I got Z Nation, then everything exploded. There was a lot of things kind of going into play. It was Quest Communications. Oh my gosh, who I know is not around anymore, but I did a Quest Communications telephone commercial that aired during the Winter Olympics.
Oh, wow.
And they flew us down to L.A., and, they had somebody pick us up, and there was this beautiful spread when we got to the set, and they put us up at the Standard. It was really nice. That was a big gig. So I did a lot of commercial work. I did a documentary the Green River documentary for Discovery Channel. That was really intense and very interesting to go from commercial to a documentary style shoot where we're telling a surreal story, about someone's life who had passed. And I think that's where I started really thinking about getting into acting as a seriously versus like just selling soap or whatever have you, which is, all fun and great as well. But I was playing a character, who had been murdered by the Green River Killer. Okay. And we were filming on the anniversary of her death.
Wow.
So it just so happened. And so that was, or the anniversary of her disappearance. So that was really, really jarring, but also really humbling in that we're telling real stories too as actors. Again, we're not just selling soap. Sometimes you get to play characters who really existed, and so you get to tell their story. And even if you're playing characters who never existed, you're still telling somebody's story somewhere, and that's why people connect to movies and they connect to TV because they're relating to the relationships that are happening.
That's very, very true. And I think a lot of people now, speaking of down south in North Carolina, back in the day up to now, there's a lot of TV heads and a lot of movie heads around. And it's to the point where there's not much to do. I mean, if you compare North Carolina to California, it's like comparing the city to Green Acres. I hate to put it that way, but there's some certain parts of North Carolina have a city feel. But a lot of us, we love to watch movies, watch television, and of course, Sci-Fi. I'm a fan of it. I watched season 1. That's right. Watched season 1 and season 2 of Z Nation.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll get into that in a minute also, because it's very funny how, and we will get into it later. But I got to make this comment. It's very funny how you transition from season 1 to season 2. You went to the point where you didn't talk at all, and it was kind of crazy. So I want to know, how did you actually get mentally prepared for that also?
But there's something else before that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have another question before?
No, I said we will get into that. I said we will get into that later. We will talk about that later, how you transition over. But while you're in the movie and television industry, did you have any type of mentors that actually helped you out on the way to where you at now?
Mentors. I don't know. That's funny. Yes, absolutely. I have my dear friend, acting coach, casting director extraordinaire, Nike Imoru. Nike is the casting director for Z Nation. She's casted a lot of movies actually out of the Pacific Northwest. And when I had to make that transition, just to tie this all in actually, when I had to make that transition from season 1 to season 2, she was my teacher. She was my mentor. We started working on that character, on that evolution of that character at the end of season 1. And then about 2 months prior to shooting season 2, we started working together. And I can say, when I hear the word mentor, I just think of somebody, that you go to all the time for some kind of advice. And I'm the oldest in my family, so it's a weird word for me because I feel like in general that I'm always taking care of people, and so when you said that, I was like, gosh, I don't feel like I have any mentors, but
because you're the mentor.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I would never, be so brave as to say that, but definitely in the last year or two. And also I think of somebody who's been there for a very, very long time. I think of like years, like a mentor that like Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods have had their like mentors. But no, Nike is definitely a mentor, even though we've only known each other a short period of time. And I think that's probably what's most amazing about her. is that she's English. She's Nigerian and English.
Oh, cool.
And she's very disciplined. And so she can really help you. She really helped me get to the work and to the heart of the character right away. And we haven't done any coaching since the show, obviously, but I still reach out to her and talk to her about everything, just, not even just acting, but things beyond. She's a real life coach for me.
And see, that's a cool thing if you can actually have someone in the industry at the same time that you can go to and, speak about or talk about something that's beyond television and movies. There's someone that's actually there for you all the time. That's like a great thing to have. A lot of people can't find that, especially in the movie and television industry. It's very hard. It's more of like every person for themselves. I'll help you out, but just keep it strictly business. And I like that you found someone that actually will step out there and actually help you out in different types of aspects of your life.
Yeah, I really couldn't, like the word that you're describing, like, everyone for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard about that. I've heard about that part of LA and about this industry, for sure, absolutely. But I really believe that if you are a good person and you work hard, that, it's kind of like the law of attraction. You will attract those people like that kind of person to you as well.
Mm-hmm.
And because I think that we do. You were right. It's very, very important to have someone who believes in you, who relates to you, who's telling you keep going. Nike was that person for me. I actually just finished. I finished working on my first sketch ever. I wrote, produced. We just shot it, and Nike and another really dear girlfriend of mine, who's a great comedic actress. They both of them were just like, screw what we're saying, screw what our ideas are. Make sure that you have your voice. Make sure that it's all you, no matter what. And yeah, that kind of support is priceless, but completely necessary in this industry. I would say that's more important than, almost more important than, or just as important. I'm sorry, just as important as having a headshot. You got to have a support system here of some kind.
And that's very, very true. And I'm glad that you actually brought that up about, everyone is not like that in California or Hollywood or however you want to put it. You do have that handful of people that will help you out. So,
right.
And you're one of the good people out there. And Pisay, I want to say thank you. And you make sure you keep that going on for yourself, too. Stay humble like you're doing now. That's the best thing you can do.
I can't guarantee anything, but I'm kidding. No, absolutely. I hope I never get, or if I do, I hope I have. How about this? If I ever get too high on my britches, if I ever forget where I'm from, I hope I have good friends and family to remind me something different to bring me back down to earth. That's the best I can hope for.
Pisay, I'm going to say this. I believe me and you will become very good friends, so trust me, I'll be one of them to help you out.
I thought we already were. What's going on?
Better friends. We're going to actually go from good friends to best friends. How about that?
Okay, thank you. All right,
yes,
all right. Okay, I forgive you now.
Thank you. Now, is it true that you had like a brief stint in NCIS LA, Los Angeles?
I did, yes. Yeah, I shot that back in November. It premiered in January, right in the beginning of the year, actually. I played a pregnant woman whose African American husband was dying. It was the second time in my career, actually, that I have played a pregnant woman with an African American husband.
Oh, wow.
Which I'm really proud of, because let me just say, black guys were the first guys to give me love when I was, growing into puberty. And so it's funny. It's funny. It was great. And also the diversity, too. I had a friend make a comment about, why is it always Asian people with Asian people? Obviously, and I see it all the time. It's very real to me. I see I see a lot of just a lot of different mixed races dating one another. It's not always like a black couple or an Asian couple, you know. So
right.
I had that little bit, and it was really fun.
So how was it like behind the scenes with NCIS Los Angeles when you was with the cast and crew? Did it give you like the same feel as like behind the scenes with Z Nation? Or was it like a totally different monster?
It was very different. It is a whole different thing, you know, because, and also people have to understand, like, I was a day player, you know, meaning that I just went there basically for a day on NCIS, whereas Z Nation, I was there for 2 seasons, and I had time. I was spending every day with these people, so obviously there's going to be a difference, you know, and that's not to say that the people on NCIS were, you know, not willing to talk to me or be cordial or anything. At the very opposite, they were all really nice and cordial. But I learned so much from being on the Z Nation set, thankfully, before I got into NCIS. I did. You know, I just learned. I noticed for Z Nation, we shoot 12-hour days, so 5 days a week, 12-hour days, and we're shooting a lot. You know, I think the average that a TV show does in terms of pages in a script is maybe, I want to say 7 to 8. We're doing 10 to 12 pages a day.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're going incredibly fast. Anyone who knows production, who's worked on a set, that's really, really fast, especially for a zombie TV show with stunts and with special effects.
Yes.
So I would watch these people come in, and, you know, these guest stars and co-stars and whatnot, and the people who we really respected and connected to most, they weren't the guys who, like, came in with gift baskets for us, or not that anyone ever did anything like that, but I'm just exaggerating. Like, you know, they weren't the guys that were, like, super nice, like, hey, man, you know, you guys going to go drinking afterwards, what's going to happen, you know, what's happening. The guys who we wanted to talk to, the people who we really respected, were the people who came in and they did their work and they did it beautifully. They came in and they respected our workspace. They weren't trying to be our best friends. They respected our TV show and our workspace. And it gave us a chance to see them work and to see how serious they were about their craft. And then that allowed us to want to get to know them and to want to reach out. You know, we said, okay, this person's a real actor. You know, they're a real collaborator. And so that's what I took when I went to NCIS. I didn't go in there thinking, oh, I've been on a TV show, I'm going to talk it up to everybody, or, you know, I'm going to make friends, and not that there isn't an opportunity to connect and network, but I really just focused on my work. And I just hope and prayed that the work came through, and that if I did a good job, you know, I would make connections there, and that the opportunities came up. I remember we were kind of running lines, and some of the other actors and I had a really good laugh, and it was something natural. So, but it was, you know, NCIS has been on for a long time, whereas Z Nation only had like 1 season, so we were kind of having, like, you know, learning to walk on our sea legs, and so. It's a beast. They know what they're doing. They know what shots they want, and it goes really quickly. So I had to just remember to also enjoy it. I had to remember, like, okay, you're here for 1 day, make the most of it, do your work, but have a good time. Yeah, it was a great time. Everyone there was really nice, and, you know, it was on set, so you're comfortable. It's a good life. It's nice, and I'm not going to lie. It was not bad. It was not a bad experience. You know, I had my cozy trailer and, you know, a buffet lunch. Yeah, it was very nice.
You know, you have to invite me on set one day. You're going to have to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. You come down to L.A., and
of course,
I will get you on a set.
Okay, cool. Now, since you're talking about Z Nation, I have 2 words for you. And I want the true explanation of this, okay?
Okay.
Z-weed.
I knew you were going to say that. Yes.
Yep. Explain. What is the difference between weed and Z-weed?
Okay. This is really good, actually. This is really simple. So, you know, Z-weed is made with zombie compost. Yeah,
oh,
that's
wow.
the difference, right? Because, like any plant, to grow it, we use some kind of compost, and it just so happens that Z-weed is made with zombie compost.
And see, when I first heard about it, I was thinking, okay, if a human smokes Z-weed, they're going to turn into like how
a zombie.
Half human, half zombie. So I was like, okay, if these guys get high off of this, they're automatic zombies without getting bitten. So
right. That's not how it works.
Yeah, I was shocked.
I mean, there's a little Z Nation science in there. I think that if you're a zombie and you smoke weed, like Cassandra did, it neutralizes you in some way.
Yes.
The zombie on zombie, they kind of like cancel each other out. And then if you're a human smoking Z-weed, I think it just gives you a really good high, like a different high. Not that I know anything about getting high, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, I'm actually serious about that. In some ways, but yeah, I just think it gives you a different high than regular weed, as it would, as it should.
Well, it makes
Special.
sense. That definitely makes sense. It seemed like when Cassandra actually smoked Z-weed, more of her human side came back. That was just my opinion. It looks like it was like it was so mellowed out, laid out that I was like, okay, she's about to transform back. So but when the buzz went away, you went back to beast mode.
Right. Yeah, I think that was part of the storytelling. I think that was part of kind of, I hate to say this, but teasing the audience. You know, but also playing with that idea of, which I think was a really great thing to play with, is how much of the human aspect is in there. We wonder that, and not every single character in a zombie show and or movie has asked that question.
Really?
And we didn't really. And here was a chance, like I think in Cassandra, now that I'm thinking about it, can't believe I'm just having this epiphany, where we get to really see that. We really get to play that out a lot longer than we would have if she was full-on zombie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in some ways I think it was, the writer sort of teasing the audience. It's like, is Cassandra coming back? If she isn't, where is she going? Which direction? But I think also it was a great way to explore that question. That question, when we lose someone to the zombie virus, how much of them is still in there and how much of them is just gone?
Right.
And I think that Cassandra was a great example of that.
Very true. Now, how excited were you when you found out that you received the role on Z Nation?
I was shocked. I was really, really shocked. I mean, I was excited, but I was in disbelief. And I think part of it is, I've told the story a ton, so I apologize if you've already heard it, but I had flown from Los Angeles to New Zealand, and I was in New Zealand for about 9 days. And then from New Zealand, I went to Thailand, which is another 12, 10-hour plane ride. And by the time I landed in Thailand, I didn't know what time it was. I didn't know if it was morning, noon, or night. My body wouldn't go to sleep. I was really delirious. And so I get this phone call at, 4 o'clock in the morning in Thai time. And and first of all, I mean, my phone hadn't really rang, for a couple of days, right? Because I was traveling internationally, so I turned it off, or I didn't. I just kind of blocked and didn't expect people to be calling. But so the fact that it was ringing and it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I've got my agent on the other line, and she's like super serious, more serious than I've ever heard her before. And I just couldn't believe it. I thought it was a dream, and I didn't think it was going to be real. So more than anything, I was just in shock. And I kept saying, okay, I'll believe it when I talk to Carl, the producer and the showrunner. I'll believe it when they send me a script. I'll believe it when, literally I was like, I'll believe it when I'm on set. working with Harold Perrineau. I like literally, because I just couldn't. I was just like, it's one of those things I had said like months prior. I want to be on a sci-fi show, and then I'm doing a sci-fi show. It's just So
that's a blessing. I mean, you wanted it,
absolutely.
and look at you now. I mean, believe it or not, you're doing big things. You're very blessed for this situation. And trust me, I know it's not the end of your career. Nowhere soon. And I mean, there's big things coming in your future. I really do feel that, and that's why I'm glad we're in the transition of moving from good friends to best friends. So you cannot forget about me. So that's right. I want to roll. I want to roll on something. Yes, me and you going to work side by side. Exactly.
Well, I'm writing stuff on my own now too. So that's
okay.
Yeah. I'll
cool.
keep that in mind. Just send my people your headshot and resume.
I got you.
All right.
Yes.
All right. I'll look out for it.
Okay, cool. Now, let me ask you this question. Behind the scenes of Z Nation, can you tell everybody that's listening right now one memorable moment that we did not see on camera that happened on Z Nation that would probably put people in awe or make them fall on the ground laughing or just something shocking? How is the nature behind the camera?
Oh, my gosh. It's really, really fun. It's really fun. Like I said, when you're together for that long, working all those hours, everyone's super friendly and, and we can get irritated about stuff as well.
Right.
But for the most part, we're all really close. The only thing that comes to mind is that in the beginning of season 2, we had a running scene, and it was an intense running scene. And mind you, I had injured my foot doing stunts, and I'm in these, these boots. But I'm running because I think that I'm sort of like a natural runner. I ran some track in middle school and whatnot. So, I'm keeping up. I'm keeping pace. And then so they shoot me and Murphy running, and then they shoot the group running. And Anastasia couldn't keep up. She couldn't keep up with of the rest of the group. And so you see, like, you're watching the take, and it's like the group is all together, and then Anastasia is behind everybody. And finally she's like, guys, can we just all slow it down a little bit so that, instead of her speeding up, she's like, no, I need you guys to slow it down. Like, just let's do this 70% or maybe at 50%. I'm like putting words into her mouth, but that definitely happened, and we've definitely talked about how she's joked that if she was like in a real zombie apocalypse, that she wouldn't be able to outrun them. So that happened. That was fun.
She went power walk. She went power walk. She couldn't run.
She went Tracy Anderson on it, is what she does.
No.
That's her thing. Yeah. She got all toned in a different way. I'm trying to think if there was. I remember that I had a fight scene with Vasquez. There's a really huge fight scene that he and I had, and that was fun. I'd been training for that. But you don't really know how your body's going to take it. And there was a couple scenes where he had slammed me. He'd slammed my back against the wall, and I had a back pad. But somehow, like, I could just feel the concussion on my head a little bit, and like the world starts spinning a little bit, And the director goes, "Okay, that was great. Can we do one more?"
What?
And I look at him, and I think, okay, but that's it. Just one more.
Oh,
and I'm never that kind of person. Normally I'm like, yeah, let's just keep going. But I was like, yep, the world is spinning. I should probably stop.
You're a good one.
I try. I try. Yeah.
That's crazy. And I'm not sure if he's listening right now, but later on this month, Russell's going to be on the show also.
Oh, awesome. I love Russell.
Yeah. So he's going to be on the show. So I know
he's
will
a
probably have
Seattleite like me.
Yeah. He sure is. Yeah, he will be on the show on the 20th.
We didn't do the same. We didn't work on the same day, but Russell and I both worked on that film together that I did with Eric Roberts and Elizabeth Rome and Sean Patrick Flannery. So that's how I met Russell. I knew him from that movie, and then when that role of Doc came out, I was just like, I wasn't surprised. I mean, he, to me, embodies Doc. I can't think of a better person to play that role.
So true.
Yeah, and he'll be a great person to talk to about Z-Weed.
Oh, I believe it. Trust me. Just looking at the character on the show, I mean, he looks like he's the one that invented it. That's how.
You know what? He did.
Are you serious?
He did. Yeah. I think he did come up with Z-Weed. Yeah, I think he was sitting around the writer's room and came up with that one. He'll have to tell you the story. You'll have to get it from the horse's mouth.
Don't worry.
Just don't even listen to anything I said about that. But I think that was definitely a big part. A big part. He had a big part to do with that.
I want to make sure that you're listening to this show when we actually have it on the 20th with Russell also. If you're not busy, make sure you tune into it. So, most definitely.
Yeah, I'm on Russell's Facebook feed, so I'll definitely hear about it. Yeah.
Cool. Now, I want you to go into Cassandra mode for 1 second, okay? I got one question strictly for Cassandra.
Okay.
All right. If you could choose one character, I don't care who it is in Z Nation, if you could choose one character that turned into a half zombie, half human, who would it be?
Ooh. One character to turn into a half human, half zombie. I think Addie, because I think then, Addie and Cassandra would just be like the sexiest duo ever. Half human, half zombie. Yeah, I think we'd be pretty hard to stop together, her and I.
Now, I'm surprised you didn't say because of what happened. I'm surprised you didn't say 10K.
Okay, so to be honest, he was the first person that came up. And actually, I didn't follow your instructions at all. Because you said as Cassandra. And yes, as Cassandra, you're right. It would be 10K. Well, no. It wouldn't be. As Cassandra, it wouldn't be. Actually, I don't think Cassandra would put 10K through that.
You're a fight.
I really don't. I don't think that she would make him suffer the way that she did. So so I go back. Yeah, I mean, because he really doesn't like zombies, and she is one, and she was going through the struggle. She was struggling, between the human and zombie side, and I think that she loves him too much, and he's got so much of a life ahead of him. He's such, this young kid, and so I don't think she would put him through that actually.
Okay, well, good answer. Very good answer. Yes.
Thank you.
Now, what is your ultimate goal in the movie and television industry?
Ultimately, I would love to continue working. I would love to continue doing good work, things that I'm passionate about and that I really connect with, and working just enough so that I can always stay, this is very idealistic, but you asked, I want to work just enough so that I can continue to stay passionate. I've heard a lot of actors who are blessed and lucky enough to be on big shows or do big movies, sometimes it's draining and sometimes it just becomes work and they forget. And even I've been in a position of forgetting what I'm doing it for and why and where the passion is. So I just hope that I can continue to work and work just enough that I that I can still be passionate and remain true to my craft.
Hey, that's cool. That's very cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, fans, everybody that's listening right now, I did say in the beginning of the show that you're going to learn something about, say, outside of the zombie. Now, that's right. I'm about to get into this now. Now, not only you're an actress.
What did my mom tell you?
See?
What did she say? Nothing.
Now, you see,
forget it.
You are you are actually a naturally skilled dancer. Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah, I got some moves.
Yeah, I heard. I heard. Seriously. So, what is your favorite style of dance?
My favorite style of dance?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's tough to say because there's types of dances that I like watching. Are you asking what I like to watch or what I like to do personally?
Personally, let's say you're in your house right now, nobody's in there, and you're just in that mood to dance, and you turn on music.
But here's the thing. I really love dancing with a partner.
Oh, really? Okay.
I love because I think as a woman too. I mean, like girls love to dance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's so rare to meet men, for me anyways, who also love dancing. So when I meet a man who enjoys dancing and knows how to dance and knows how to take a lady by the hand and lead, it's like, oh my gosh, what is your name? Do you want to get married and have my children? It's like, I mean, not that fast. I'm not crazy, but
right.
I really do enjoy. I do enjoy dancing with a partner, and it could be anything. But if I were to be at home, anything, just put on anything with a beat. It could be Beyonce, it could be Oland, it could be Depeche Mode. I mean, like really, just my music, like most people, really range.
Right.
And I guess I call it club dancing. You know, the kind of dancing you would do in a club, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my favorite kind of dancing. I actually, so funny you mentioned this. As an acting experiment, I danced outside in the rain on Melrose Avenue in the middle of like 5 o'clock traffic.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was amazing. It was fun, and there was this woman. She was so inspired by it. She started taking pictures of me. Luckily, it was a woman and not a man, because then that would have been like, questionable, I think. Then there was this guy videotaping me, and now it's, so she took pictures of me and she sent them to me. It was really sweet. I don't know what kind of dance style you call that. I think it's just, being in your body and feeling comfortable.
Let's just call it soul dancing. Let's just call it
soul. Thank you. Thank you. I like that. See, this is why we're best friends.
That's right. Exactly.
You say
That's
things like that.
About.
Soul dancing. Mm-hmm. That's right. I like it.
Now, is it also true that you're actually into children's books? Like writing them and everything also?
I am. Well, I haven't really written any children's books, but that's funny that you brought that up because I, just at a friend's house today, and he was showing me his book collection, and they're all like adult books. Like world history and psychology and like all this like really intense textbook kind of stuff. And I was thinking about my book collection, and I don't have a very big collection because I really like movies, but It is like The Giving Tree and Where the Sidewalk Ends, so lots of Shel Silverstein. There's another book that I really love called The Mountain That Loved a Bird by Alice McLaren. So I've got children's books. I love reading them. I'm a very visual person, so yes, I like picture books for the pictures. And I also just love the messages. I think it's beautiful that we can take a very strong message and write it and put it in a simple format like a children's book and to teach them, but also adults. It doesn't have, you don't have to learn all your lessons from a self-help book. Sometimes
so true.
Kids, are the biggest.
You're right.
Of all. So, maybe one of these days I'll get a children's book going.
Hey, I think you need to. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Get a nice
but I am writing. Like I said, I just finished this sketch, so that will be out soon, hopefully. I'm excited about sharing that. Yeah.
Hey, that's cool. And with me growing up, what my favorite children's book was?
What was it?
I was a big Dr. Seuss fan. That was just me personally. I loved it.
I mean, the ultimate messenger. He taught so many great things in such a fun, in such a fun way. What was your best or your favorite Dr. Seuss book? Hello?
My favorite was Green Eggs and Ham.
Green Eggs and Ham.
That was my favorite one. Yes. That was my favorite Dr. Seuss book. I read it so many times, and then I went to Cat in the Hat. It was more backwards for me. A lot of people started with Cat in the Hat and went to Green Eggs and Ham. But that was the first one my parents bought me, and I read the book so many times. And believe it or not, I still have my little collection of them also. I still have them. So
I love that. Yeah. They're great. They're great books.
They are.
Yeah.
Now, I want to actually jump back to the acting side.
Okay.
Now, don't worry. I will have you back on the show to talk about these books again, though. I definitely am.
All right.
What ultimate advice would you give any actor or actress? It doesn't matter what age it is. What would you actually give them? Like, what advice would you give them to actually start in the movie and music industry?
Oh, that's a big one.
In the movie and television industry.
Right. Yeah. I'm not an expert in the music industry at all. So
yeah, I did not mean to say music. I am so sorry. I'm still thinking about dancing.
Still thinking about dancing. What advice? There isn't one thing, that. Gosh, there isn't one thing. That's so tough. I guess what I would say is to always be honest with yourself. That's a big one, and it sounds simple, but it's not, because every day, and I mean that truly, genuinely, every day I still have to ask myself, what do you honestly want today? What do you honestly want to do? No, you do not want to have a big, plate of pancakes. You really want to go on a walk and, have whatever. But so you have to really ask yourself, what do you want? What do you really, really, really want? And then from there, make a plan. Make a plan of attack and go after it. And it doesn't matter what it is, like no judgment if that's what you really, truly think will make you happy. Some people want to just be famous,
Right.
Some people, I've just met so many different types of people. Some people just want to do serious acting. They don't want to do commercials. They don't want to, but it just, what do you really desire? And then what are you willing to compromise to get there? Or what are you willing to do to get there?
That's right.
So I think that's the best advice that I can give. I think some people are just so starry-eyed that, they're so fame-oriented maybe that they don't really know what is it about fame that you want? Are you talking about money then? Are you talking, so you don't want to be an actor? Maybe you can be a reality TV star. But as long as you can get real about that, I think that it'll help you towards your goal. I know that it helped me when I got real about, what I really wanted, which was to be an actor and to pursue, not even to be an actor. My thing was that I wanted to pursue acting in L.A. I just wanted to give it a chance.
Right.
I didn't even write, make it big in L.A. I wrote to go and pursue acting. So even when I was, this is going to sound crazy, but there was a point where I was sort of living out of my car. I had all my stuff in my car, and I was driving around looking for a hotel to sleep for the night, motel, hotel, whatever.
Right.
And I was laughing. I was laughing out loud because, not because I had gone crazy and I was delirious, there was that too, but I was laughing because I was like, you're living your dream. You're living the dream of what every actor, what every artist goes through, which is at some point some artist is living out of their car. You know, so I just had to like appreciate that crazy moment and remember, like, yeah, you know, this is what you came here to do, was you came here to experience the struggle and to go through the journey. And that's really big too, I think, is not just the destination and the goal, but, you know, the journey along the way, because you learn so much.
That's so true.
If I hadn't gotten as lucky as I have with acting, I think I would pay people to let me be on their set. I would pay people just to have the experience of watching how things actually work.
And
because
I believe that
there's like that's priceless. You cannot add a monetary value to that.
That's so true.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is.
No.
Now, also with your fans, and 'cause I know a lot of your fans are actually listening right now. Big shout out to everybody, all your Z Nation fans is listening right now.
Love
Big
you
shout
guys.
out to all
Thank
of
you.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Now, how can these people actually follow you, you know, on social media? What is like, how can they find you on Twitter, Facebook, anything?
So I'm on both. I'm on Twitter and I'm on Facebook, both under Pisay Pao. And it's a little harder for me to respond via Twitter. I do my best, but if people really want to interact with me, I feel like I do a pretty good job of interacting with fans, if I do say so myself, via Facebook. You know, I can't get to everybody, and I sometimes get a little weary because I do have some stalkers.
Oh,
and
boy.
That's tough. But you know, I try to at least respond once, and interact with the fans as much as possible.
So give everybody, as far as it goes, for your Twitter and your Facebook, what do they need to look under to actually find it?
Oh, my full name, Pisay Pao,
Okay.
Pisay, last name Pao, Pao.
Fans, you heard that. Make sure you follow her on Twitter. Make sure you hit that like button on her fan page.
That's right.
That's
Just
right.
don't
That's
follow
one thing.
me home.
There you go.
Don't follow me home.
That's
you can follow
classified
me on
stalking.
Twitter. You can follow me on Facebook. Just don't follow me home. Is that cool?
That's right. That's classified stalking, people. You will get popped up for that. Just to let you know.
I don't make the law, but yeah, that's what the law says.
That's right. Please don't make Pisay call 911 on you people, guys.
Please.
Don't do it.
Please, because I have really good cell reception in where I live.
And there you go. You heard that first here, too. So don't try nothing crazy. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm actually, of course, you know, me and you were Facebook friends, and I'm actually following you on Twitter also. So.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So I mean, it's real cool. I'm actually a fan also. I love the work that you're doing. So
thank you.
Please continue to do what you're doing. It was a pleasure to have you on the show. Now, Pisay, you got to come back again.
You just tell me when, and we'll make time.
All right, I like that. All right, guys. Anything else you want to say to your fans?
Oh, my gosh, just thank you. I really, truly love my fans. A lot of them have been asking me, you know, what's happening next. Like I mentioned to you earlier, I've got a sketch that I just wrote, and I did have the fans in mind when I made it, so hopefully when it comes out, they'll be able to see that. So I just want to say thank you to them. I really appreciate their support. It means the world to me.
All right, guys, you heard it here first on the Big Scoop with Coop. Pisay, thank you once again for coming on the show. I really enjoyed
Thank you,
Michael. Just remember our transition. We got to go from good friends to best friends, so we're about to work on that also.
Done.
So,
Done.
right.
I'm changing my Facebook status right now.
That's what's up. Yes. So thank you again for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure having you, and I will be talking to you soon again, okay?
All right. Take care.
All right. Yes, thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Big Scoop with Coop. And until next time, everybody.
Till next time. Bye, guys.